Hey everyone, welcome to month 3 of our Adaptation Mindset Initiative. Can you believe we're already at month 3? Today we're diving into a topic, and honestly, it's the hardest, but it's probably the foundation of the growth we've been discussing. So today we're discussing the strength in asking for help. It's a good one. So as we continue our journey through this, what's your first instinct when a challenge hits? Do you focus on solving the problem, avoiding the problem, or does that voice whisper in your head like, oh, I already know this, or I've already heard of this before, so there's nothing else I can learn? Or maybe if I ask the team for help, they think, oh, she should know this, you're just unqualified or stupid. I really encourage you to think about where you're still fighting that fixed mindset battle, because that's what that is. Saying, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't, man, I already know that. That's that fixed mindset. So I really want you to really truly think and reflect in your life where you find yourself having that challenge. Okay, because we're here today because this is an internal struggle and it's real. The fear of admitting that we need help or getting someone's new perspective, honestly, it's the toughest and hardest hurdle, I think, for true growth. So it's just, important for us to really pause a moment and think through that. Um, but today we're going to start by challenging an idea. I'm not sure if it's something that you experienced in childhood, but for me, it was something that I really had enforced in me, that asking for help, it's truly a sign of weakness, right? Or being stupid. So let's think about that. If we treat asking for help like a failure or proof that you're not smart enough, I'm pretty sure that that puts us in a pretty tough spot, right? Where if we can't ask for help in things that we have and we're struggling with, that's got to be just as terrifying as public speaking, right? So it's important to make sure that we reflect on that again, as I was saying previously, about where you have that fixed set. Okay, because today, I really want us to challenge that idea that asking for help is weakness, that we're not smart enough. Because today we're going to flip that mindset completely. Because truthfully, the data is clear and the science is undeniable. Asking for help is the single greatest sign of competence, courage, and commitment to growth. So let me say that again. Asking for help is the single greatest sign of competence, courage, and commitment to growth. So, our goal today is simple. We want to reframe this mindset of help seeking behavior. And by the time we're finished with session 3 today, truly my goal is for you to believe that asking for help, it's not just safe, but it's expected and it's strategic. Okay, so that's the fixed mindset. A lot of that internal noise and energy wasted on hiding that struggle. Like, oh, I don't know what this is or how to do this. There's so much energy that you waste on that. So we need to be focusing this energy on what the truth is, which is asking for help is really the key to success. And honestly, the data on high performing professionals really shows that mindset flips, entirely, right? Like, our thought that asking for help is bad is actually the opposite of what high performers are showing. So the truth is, high performers, they seek help. It's been studied. And here's the flip side. They ask for more help frequently, and they do it early. And why is this? Because these individuals, they operate with that growth mindset mentality, where a fixed mindset, they see asking for help as a risk, right? Like, okay, where a growth mindset see it as a strategic advantage. It's an act of courage, honestly, that says, I prioritize my speed in learning this material and turning around over looking smart. in figuring it out on my own, and it taking me way longer than it should. Okay. And again, so by me asking for help or for asking for help, by prioritizing the speed of learning, it demonstrates that my skills can and will be developed, right? So I can learn new skills. But here's the thing, you have to really overcome, and this is what psychologists call the illusion of transparency. Gosh, this is so hard for me. And honestly, this is the mistaken belief that people can read our minds, right? Like our needs are obvious. People can tell what we need without us saying it, but they're not. Here's the fun fact, 90% of help that comes from work, like coworkers giving you, comes from you asking, right? So again, people can't read your mind. So 90% of the help people receive at the workplace is because somebody asked for help. Okay, if you need help, find the courage to say these words out loud. I need help. Say them out loud. Let me hear you say it. I need help. Say those words, okay? It's so important to say those words out loud, not just at work, not, but think about your relationship, right? Like we all feel like, our partner or our kids or whomever we're with can read our mind, but they can't. And when there's a struggle, we need to make sure that we use our words to say that I need your help or this is what I need, because they cannot read our mind, okay? So if asking for help is a strategic advantage for high performers, right? Because those individuals ask for help early and often, this is where it begs the question, what are they leveraging with that advantage, right? Like, why is that an advantage? And when is the most important time to ask for help? So, why ask for help and when? So, we're going to talk a little bit through that. So, when to ask for help, it's not just if, right? Saying those words, I need help, but when. So we often think of asking for help only when we're failing, right? And yes, that's crucial. Asking for help when we're struggling is so important. But after a failure or a setback, asking for help, it actually, it allows us an opportunity to get a different perspective and identify what actions need to change, right? It helps us avoid repeating those same mistakes. So really thinking and asking someone else, okay, what do you think worked in that or didn't work? And getting that feedback, oh, it's beautiful. But here's where that growth mindset, it truly shines. When you ask for help, even after success, right? Like, oh man, that went so good. I feel so confident about that. But then you ask a peer and you say, hey, I would love to get your feedback, and not like just compliment saying, oh, you did such a great job, but actually give me feedback and give me process-based feedback. And why? Why is this important? Because asking a peer, what did you see that I did well? It really helps us or whoever the person is pinpoint a repeatable action that led to that positive outcome. Remember, we've talked before about reflecting on what's worked and what what doesn't work. So again, by reflecting on what has worked and have someone point that out, you now have a repeatable action that you can use that has led to that positive outcome. And honestly, this is a great and a very powerful way to turn a one-time win into a consistent developable skill, right? Again, developable skill, growing that skill and that mindset. So doing that repeatable action gives us something that we can go back to in times of challenge or preparation, that we can remember, okay, this is what worked good and what didn't work good. And again, it becomes a consistent, and you can continue to grow and develop that skill. So to increase the chances of getting that yes, when you ask the question, you ask, I need your help. When you ask, it's important to understand like the 4 rules of asking a question. The first, tell them what you need. Don't be like, oh, can I pick your brain a minute? And this is challenging for me because a lot of times I don't feel like I'm super prepared for those conversations. But if I have to be detailed, give details ahead of time on what I'm needing for them, um, it'll make me be more prepared. Okay. So instead of saying, hey, I'm wanting to talk, can I pick your brain about this assignment for school? Or can I pick your brain about this approach to the student I'm struggling with? That's very vague. Instead, say, hey, I'm having this student who continues to um, avoid my calls and I'm not getting anywhere with them. I wanted to see if I could talk to you about maybe some strategy we could put together. Something like that. Give them more details. Always make sure when you're asking for help, truly the first thing, give the details of what you need right from the get-go. Second, oh my gosh, this is so hard for me. Ditch the declaimers, right? Stop saying, I'm sorry for needing your help. Phrases like, I'm so sorry to ask you this, right? Or, like I tried so hard not to have to ask for help, but here I am. So think about that. Like when you have a relationship with someone, helping them is a natural part of that connection. It's not transactional, right? So focus on the request and not proving that you're not weak, right? Let them help you. But so don't start and ask for help with, I'm so sorry, I have to ask this. You're asking for someone that you have that existing relationship with. So it's okay to ask for help. They like that. The third is do it face to face. Ask for help face to face. And in our virtual world, I would say that would be, via Teams or something like that if it's work wise. If you're needing support, ask for help via Teams. Say, hey, I um, am wanting to meet with you about the student who continues to, you know, avoid me or not do what I'm needing and want to see if we can come together strategy. Can we meet in Teams, in a few minutes and talk through this, right? And come to them face to face, okay? Because it makes it a lot easier for someone to say, sure, absolutely, or here's what I think we should do if they can see yourself or see you. And honestly, research shows that an in-person request for help is 30 times more likely to get a yes than an email request. So when it's important, make sure you do FaceTime or at least pick up the phone. Don't do the easy way of emailing or sending a message or a text. It's just not good. Okay, and this is something else that I think is so important, and I often forget to do this. So this is a great reminder. The last one, and this is very overlooked, it's follow up on that impact, right? If someone has helped you or done something for you, make sure that you let them know the outcome, right? So, for example, with the peer meeting with the student, maybe that they reached out to them one week, they were able to have the conversation, and then the following week, I was able to engage with the student. I'm going to follow back up with that peer and say, thank you so much again for meeting with so and so this week. I was able to get in contact with them. We'll have that follow up, right? That shows that what they've done makes a difference. So, same with, I can't tell you how many times I've written like a letter of recommendation for somebody and I've never heard what happened, right? I have no idea if my effort mattered. So just truly take time to tell the person, hey, your advice really helped me, or hey, thanks for reaching out to that student. It really helps me know that there's other people that can help me through this situation. So, and honestly, people are more likely to help you in the future if you acknowledge the fact that they helped you and follow up with them and show that value add. So those are the 4 rules, okay? And I know intellectually they all make sense, right? Ask right up in the get-go what you're needing. Tell them what you need. Make sure not to apologize. Do face-to-face as much as possible. And make sure to follow up to share that value. But putting these in practice, it's hard, especially when that fixed mindset voice is screaming. And that's the real challenge, right? Because it requires courage. And I know this is hard because I've struggled with myself. I really am good at asking. I'm doing better at asking for help now, but a few years ago, I really struggled with that. And I can explain the rules perfectly to you. I can sit here and say, oh yeah, this is what you need to do. But I've lived in that fear of vulnerability most of my life as well. So, just to kind of give you a quick story is I remember back in 2020, when things were really hard, everybody was dealing with a lot of grief, and it was I was in a dark space again, same as most, if not everybody here. Um, and it was really hard for me to contain and continue having this functional image, right? Because internally, I was just like, I can't even tell you can't even describe what I was feeling. But my fixed mindset was telling me that admitting that I can't function, that I feel like my world is crumbling, that all I want to do is crawl in bed and cry and not, really in a be really show and express how I was feeling would show that I was weak, right? And that I couldn't handle my weakness because I knew everybody was going through things like this, right? So I felt terrible saying I am not functioning when I know were other people dealing with worse things, right? It was really hard for me. So doing a routine weekly WebEx check-in with my buddy Lori. Hi, Lori. Truly, that pressure, oh my gosh, it came too much. And I remember meeting one morning and I just erupted in tears. Like just I had not prepared to do that. Like it was I just couldn't express what I was feeling. I just had enough and I just pretty much exploded with emotion. And even though I couldn't verbalize where I was and what I needed, um, Lori's response, it was immediate and it was profound. I mean, she immediately paused everything, right? It felt like she paused the whole world and conversation. And she truly focused on just supporting me and just listening to me. And without me having to ask, she had already developed a concrete plan, how she was going to cover my responsibilities, let people know that I was going to be out of the office, take time. I mean, she ensured my students were supported. She took the lead with the rest of the team responsibilities. I mean, I didn't even have to say those words. But she knew and she jumped in and she did that because we have that relationship. In this experience, it really taught me a vital lesson in collaboration. So sometimes allowing your need to be seen, right? Being that face to face, even without being able to articulate what I need or have any words, it really created the space for genuine support and love. Her prompt action allowed me the time to recover. Honestly, like it proved that vulnerability, honestly, when acknowledged by supportive system, my peers, it really led me to have a better focus and gain control of who I was at that moment and be able to produce better outcomes. So again, sometimes asking for help doesn't you don't always have to have the words. You just have to have the support, right? And being vulnerable to people that know you. It's just beautiful. So thank you, Lori. So, this month again, we're challenging ourselves. Let's make that leap. All right. And to make it effective, here's our challenge. All right. First, we need to be intentional and we need to seek feedback after both success and failure. This is not just a work world, right? Don't just wait for problems. But I really encourage each of you after something went well or it didn't go well to seek that feedback and ask people, okay, what did you think went well? If you could recommend one thing for me to change or do differently, what would that be? Think about that. Again, because that's going to give you actionable steps for the next time. Okay. Second, I really want you to practice the 4 rules of asking. Okay. I want you to apply them, make them into a habit. Into our leaders, which we're all leaders. So that's everyone in here, regardless of the title. I really encourage you to model this behavior. right? Model this behavior and call it out when you see it. So when you see a peer or a manager apply these principles, or maybe you have a student who asks for help in a very thought provoking way, prepared way, you know, or maybe they don't apologize for asking for help. They just are prepared and, ready to engage with you with that they need. Acknowledge that behavior. This isn't just about individual change, right? It's about building, honestly, a collective culture where it's expected and it's supported, and there's great strategy with this. So again, I'm very, very grateful for everyone being on this journey with us. All right, it's. I hope that you're getting something out of it. Um, and today, I would also like to leave you with one thing. So as you step out, turn this video off, or as you get on with your day, I really want to go back to that collaboration, okay, where I want you to reflect on where you find that fixed mindset barrier, where you hear yourself saying, oh, I'm not going to, oh, I already know that, or oh, I'm not. Identify where that is, and then think about whose strength you will tap into first. So, who will you work with? Who will you ask for help from to help you overcome that fixed mindset barrier? It's really, really important for us all to take this moment and think about it and pause. So, again, I really appreciate everyone doing this today with me today. Here are the references that, of course, we researched through this session 3. But I do think it's also real important for us to continue that call, you're sharing your calls with your managers, where you are exemplifying that growth mindset, right? Where you're helping a student overcome the challenges, or maybe that stress as enhancing mindset. You are helping students think of the anxiety they're feeling or experiencing as a way for their body preparing to do something great. Like show your team, show your manager what you're doing for growth, right? Let's share the love. And also, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I really want you to practice the process based feedback and asking for help. Think about that change. It's so important. But I'm so thankful again that you all are here, and let's do this. Bye.